wrestling fans, and welcome to the Wrestle Talk Podcast. For the next 2 hours, we will bring you the latest pro wrestling news, in-depth analysis of all your favorite promotions from across the globe, and much, much more. We will also bring you exclusive interviews with the greatest professional wrestling personalities on the local, national, and international levels. If you want to follow the Wrestle Talk Podcast, check us out online at www.wrestletalkpodcast.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. And now, it's time for the reigning, defending, undisputed leader in pro wrestling podcast, the Wrestle Talk Podcast.
All right, everybody, it is Tuesday night. Time to go. Welcome to the Wrestle Talk Podcast. Welcome to all of our fans here joining us live, as well as those joining us on the replay. You know that if you can't make it live, that replay is always out there, so be sure to tune in. And we just want to thank each and every one of our fans for joining us, and just really looking forward to a good show tonight. We got Daniel Alexander Dabrowski, otherwise known as Dad, coming on here later on tonight. You know, but obviously, as always, I am not here alone, ladies and gentlemen. And I know you thought there might be a couple of other hosts here, but things happen, you know, we got some changes. We're sorry we're getting a little bit of a late start here, but we had a few hiccups. But let me get the man in here himself who's going to help me tonight. The one and only Jay Wade.
Hey, man, how are you tonight? Can you hear me good? Can you hear me?
I hear you good there, Justin. How's it going tonight?
Pretty good. You know, it's been a minute since you and me have been on the same screen together, man. How's things been going?
It's been going pretty good. How about yourself? You know, it has been a minute.
Well, it's been a minute. You know, I'm having some difficulties keeping up with the product right now. I'm having I don't get a lot of time with television and internet. You know, like I had to go. Basically, I spent all night at Starbucks the other night trying to catch up for tonight's show, so I could use their Wi-Fi. You know, it's just time's a little tight around here. It's Christmas time, you know. The holidays make things a little tighter than usual, so you have to make sacrifices. You know, I missed a lot. There's a lot of stuff. I didn't know that, you know, someone made a return to the WWE until Mr. Skywalker texted me. So that's how out of the loop I am. But I'm caught up with the pay-per-view and some other things, so we should be able to have a good show tonight. Hopefully, we can keep the flow going. You know, as always, you know, work keeps me busy like everyone else. But I'm hoping we can have a good show.
Oh, yeah, definitely. You know, we're looking forward to a great show. I would know there's a lot of great topics, you know, lined up for high spots. And, you know, it always gets busy for everybody this time of year. That is for sure. And, you know, but we're looking forward to a good show tonight.
Oh, yeah. Got a lot to talk about.
Oh, yeah. But before we get going, as always, you know, we got to take care of some housekeeping business real quick. You know, let's start by shouting out those sponsors there. You know, all of our great sponsors: Royal Mills Transportation, that's the one and only Dewan Mills; Nobleman's Barber Lounge, KCMO, Ask for Pete the Barber; Kincaid Arcade at the Oak Park Mall; Interstate 70 Sports Media, Jeremy Karp and all the guys over there. Then you got the Little Popeyes Designs, where we get our Wrestle Talk Podcast Tumblr, and the FWWC, the world's premier fantasy wrestling group. If you want to know more information about that, you know, just hit myself or the Night Owl or Dewan up. We'll be more than happy to give you information on that. So now that that's out of the way, I believe we do have one more piece of housekeeping we have to take care of, as always, because we have to start the show with the national anthem, as we always do.
Oh, goodness gracious.
I know this is everybody's favorite part of the show. So if you place your hands over your hearts, it is time for our national anthem. That's as we celebrate the best country around, being America.
Brings a tear to my eye.
Every time, if not a tear, it'll bring blood to your ears. One of the two. I'm not sure which.
Man, that was rough. Did you get a chance to watch the pay-per-view over the weekend or catch anything regarding it?
Yeah, I actually did get to catch most of the pay-per-view. I did miss a little bit of, well, actually, I missed the women's match. I was kind of trying to glance at it, but I was at a local wrestling event. And
oh, wow. What were you doing, man? What was that?
Yeah, I was over at WDWA. They had an event going. So I was there, and it was right towards the end of the show, about the same time that that WWE started their pay-per-view. So
what's going on with when did the WWE start putting this is how, I guess, behind I am. Why are they starting to have shows on Saturday now? Why aren't they having them on Sunday like they used to?
You know, they've been doing that. I want to say it's been almost 2 years now, I thought, but I could be wrong on that. But they've been doing it for a little while, and I don't know exactly why they decided to do Saturday nights. I guess they just thought it was a better night. But I know a lot of people seem to like it because, you know, it gives them Saturday to watch the pay-per-view, and then, you know, for those that go out having big parties and stuff, gives them Sunday to rest up. And, you know, I guess it also gives WWE that Saturday for the pay-per-view, and then gives them gives them a day's rest between that and Monday Night Raw for traveling and stuff. So,
well, you'd think, you know, with all, you know, I don't know. I just, with all the boys, you know, they have the independent shows, with you being a WDWA, correct? And you think that would, you know, I don't know, it would, I guess, because you can stream stuff now. So if you can't watch it Saturday, watch it Sunday. But they're like, you'll be a day behind if you know, in the news world of wrestling. So
yeah, and Susie's right. They actually started it when they started the 2 nights of WrestleMania.
Okay.
That's when they started the Saturday night thing, and they just ended up moving all of them to Saturday. So, I know, like I say, I'm sure it's better on the wrestlers because of the travel.
Yeah.
From Saturday night to Monday, it's probably better for them, but you know, not quite as convenient for some of the fans that like to go to the independent stuff. But
yeah, that's that saying. Like, you know, you know, I always enjoyed it being on Sundays because the next day, that, you know, when I was in grade school and stuff, that's everybody be talking about that the next day. You know, if you had your friends over and stuff to watch a pay-per-view, or somehow, like I had a friend in high school that was able to we were able to watch it. He had one of those cable box burners, so we got all the pay-per-views for free in high school. You know, yeah, I enjoy it on Sunday, but yeah, I just didn't remember that they started doing them on Saturdays. It kind of confused me. So,
yeah, it is what it is, I guess. People are going to follow no matter what, you know. So,
oh yeah,
But
Oh yeah.
all right, so are you ready to get into some high spots there?
Yeah, we got the high spots, but I have a feeling we're going to go off the rails here with some of them because there's so much other stuff that you can intertwine with some of these high spots. So yeah, I'm ready to go though.
All right, so as always, let's go ahead and hit that high spots music here with DJ Money.
Mic check, mic check. Yeah. All right. Wrestle Talk Podcast. DJ Money. Yeah. Let's go. Welcome to High Spots, where we pop news like player chops. We talk shop, coming through the screens of the laptop and non-stop like a running speakers of blacktop. We hit hard like chair shots and backdrops. Like a plug flash, look like a belly flop. Now that's hard. We up to speed while they stay slow. Wrestle Talk Podcast. Now they know we about to start the show.
All right, so now that we got that, let's go ahead and see if we can get this randomizer fired up and see what it's going to spit out for us.
That's a good picture right there.
That is. Now let's see, what is the question that goes along with that picture? With the leak of MJF's injury and his announcement, he is defending the title. How will this affect the match and his run? Ooh, that is a good question.
Yeah, I don't know when he tore it, but supposedly he leaked it real quick on Instagram or social media, and then took it off of social media. So, because that's a tear in your shoulder area, I believe, and supposedly he's been working hurt though. He's been having some hip issues. He's been banged up. How long has he been heavyweight champion? Do you know off the top of your head?
Not off the top of my head. I know he is the longest reigning AEW.
Yeah. He's
champion,
been having some great matches too, and it's frustrating to see that he's hurt himself. Now I've been looking up his injury and what it consists of, just to bring light to it to the show. If a lot of people don't know, it says it's a pain. It says you'll feel shoulder pain. It says it's usually caused by overuse or injury and commonly accompanies other injuries to the shoulder. So it's just like the entry level to messing up your shoulder. And it looks like it says it can heal on its own, but it means it can heal on its own if you're an inactive person. If you're an athlete like these guys are, he's going to need like surgery unless he takes time off. If he takes time off, they said it'll heal on its own. So, but that's the thing. I don't know if they'll let him recuperate and still be champion. But then again, you got someone on the other network, the other federation, the other company, WWE. When's the last time Roman Reigns has been on television? So, and he's still champion. Why can't for some reason I feel like they're going to have him drop it to Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe's going to be transitional champion and drop it to someone else that's involved with that MJF storyline that's going on. But yeah, that's my take on it. I really wish they could just let MJF keep running, give him some time off, let that heal up, and then come back and continue his reign.
Yeah, I got to agree with you there because, when it comes to AEW, I think MJF is, about the top superstar there. And, I think they're going to lose a little traction if I can't even talk now. But if MJF can't appear regular, I think they're going to lose some traction because he's over big with the fans right now. And, he's doing some really great work, and he just makes you want to tune in to see what's coming next for him. So it's really going to hurt AEW, I believe, if if he has to take the time off, and he really is carrying the company, in my opinion. But I mean, not that there's nobody else there that is decent or good, but I think right now he's just doing some of the best stuff that in AEW.
Yes, yeah, and that storyline he's got going on with Adam Cole. I'm sorry, but I something if in my opinion, if MJF wasn't hurt, and this is just me catching up, and I really haven't watched anything since Forbidden Door. If it seems like there's going to be a big swerve if MJF could keep going, because there's this guy going around in a mask that MJF had, and he's attacking people, and I don't know why, but I don't know. This is what I love about wrestling. You don't know what to believe and what not to believe. With Adam Cole limping around like he broke his foot or broke his ankle or something like that,
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised if he takes a page out of MJF's playbook and he was never injured, just so he could weaken MJF, because it looks like MJF has been having to defend the Ring of Honor tag titles as well by himself. Or I think he had Samoa Joe be his partner at the last event. So I think it's a swerve that Adam Cole, in the storyline, was trying to weaken MJF enough to where he got that title shot to where it'd be an easier win against MJF. So that's just my opinion. Like I said, we all have them. That's why we're here on this show.
Yeah, exactly. And you could be right with that. It's hard to tell who really is behind that mask. And, obviously I don't think it's MJF. And I have thought a time or two that yeah, it probably is Adam Cole behind it. So, and his reasoning to be behind the mask, well, that remains to be seen. And
Yeah.
but you do make a good point as to one reason that it could be him. So, that is an interesting take, and it could be a whole interesting angle. And that all goes into just wanting to see what's next with MJF. You just keep watching MJF, and there's so many rumors going around that he may be leaving AEW and going over to WWE. And honestly, I hope he doesn't.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a good move for MJF to go to WWE.
No,
I've
he's a
seen
big
them,
fish right now.
right, and I have seen them mismanage so many wonderful talents, and I could see MJF being one of them, to come over and get lost in the shuffle and be like, what happened to him? Where did he go? And
Yep.
so I would hate to see that.
Well, look what they did with Cesaro. Cesaro was lost in the shuffle with WWE, and he had a successful Ring of Honor title run. It just hit and miss with WWE sometimes. And I believe MJF, I know he's a big, he's muscular, he's pretty fit, but there's some hosses over in the WWE. And hey, Tyler, and I don't think he'd fit in the mold. I think he's a big fish right now, and he needs to stay in AEW if he wants to continue being a top dog.
Yeah, exactly. And shout out to Susie, who's been putting a lot of comments out there.
I've seen that too. Thank you for the support, guys.
And Aaron Wallace and Tyler.
We got the diehard fans out there. We all appreciate them. So it's nice to see these comments. Keep them up, and make sure you tag yourself in it or show your name so it doesn't come up as just a Facebook user. I think, right?
Yeah. If you are joining us from another group, be sure to I believe it's give permission or something to StreamYard, so that they can show your name and everything. Otherwise, you're just going to show up as Facebook user, and we may not know who you are. So
yeah, we like to give you a shout out. Sometimes I wait till after I'm done talking to give a shout out, because I don't want to break the the flow of my observation. For me to shout you out, don't worry, I'll double John. But yeah, MJF as champion is a nice thing with AEW, and hopefully the injury he's got is not as severe as it could be. So.
All right, well, let's go ahead and fire up that randomizer and see what else we got here coming from the randomizer. Oh, all right. Well, let's see what's the question with this one. Why is the world not talking about this match?
Now, I'm a big fan of Josh Alexander and Will Ospreay. You know, Josh Alexander got number 9 in the PWI 500. Well, I don't know how I love Josh Alexander, but I don't know how he scored higher than Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay got number 17 on the PWI 500. I am just in shock with how much good content we got. Maybe it's because we have so much good content that, you know, stuff like this gets missed. Like they promoted that match. It was an Impact match. It wasn't a pay-per-view match. And now they have the match on YouTube, and I'm got it running right now for the third time since I've discovered the match. Those two tore the house down. It was free television, but I think, you know, the world's not talking about it is because of all the other things that were happening this week in wrestling. There was 2 big returns. You know, it seems like Impact doesn't get the love it deserves, and I have a feeling because of the silliness it imposed. And I believe the company's had a lot of silly situations in the past, and I think it's followed them to this point still. Like, you know, you put Will Ospreay in any match, you're gonna, you know, it's just his work right now. I don't know why he wasn't number 1 in the PWI 500 this year. The matches he's had with Jericho, the matches he's had with Omega, with his, you know, he just signed. I guess he's all elite going forward, full term. You know, but you know, and Josh Alexander was the longest reigning AEW, or I'm sorry, the longest reigning Impact champion until he had his injury. His reign lasted 336 days. So, you know, he's coming back from that, you know, and, you know, he's a top dog in Impact Wrestling. It just baffles my mind that stuff like this gets not that much talked about. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like it got overshadowed because of all the other stuff that's going on in wrestling.
No, you're definitely right about that. It hasn't been talked about, at least that I've heard. And, you know, it's kind of like, I believe it was last week I was talking, and, you know, so, you know, normally on Monday nights, you know, I'm going to sit there and watch Raw. Tuesday nights, if I'm on the show, I'm taping NXT. Well, not taping, that's an old term. But you know,
it's all right. It's all right. We all understand. We're what do you call it? You're not streaming, but you're recording or
DVRing.
DVRing, yeah.
Yeah. I'm
TiVo.
I've got that, you know, going so that way I can watch it later. And then, you know, Wednesday night you got AEW on TV to watch, and then Thursday night, you know, at that point I can kind of catch up what I've got videotape, or there I go again, what I've got DVR'd. I can go ahead and catch up with that, and then Friday you got SmackDown. And then Saturday, I either go to independent wrestling or there's AEW on again. And then Sunday, you got football on. And, you know, so.
What's your team? What do you like? Who's your team?
Oh, I am a huge Raiders fan.
Okay. All right. You know, I'm here in Seattle, and they played on Thanksgiving, and man, that was a tough loss. Losing by that, they couldn't hit that field goal to win the game. So, so the Raiders are in Las Vegas now, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah. So okay, how long you been a Raiders fan? All your life?
I won't say all my life. You know, when I was a young child, my mother and my sister and everything, they were Redskins fans. And so, I kind of went with that. And then when I grew up and actually, got to the age where I started making my own mind rather than just following behind, that's when I kind of went over to being a Raiders fan. So I've been a Raiders fan for years, and but I just love to watch football in general as well.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I played a
But
little in high school and kind of follow it. Well, I'm originally from St. Louis, and we had the Rams all those years until Cron took them. So,
yeah,
but no, man. Sorry, we got off track here. There is a lot of wrestling content, like you said.
yeah. So
Monday, Tuesday, you got WWE, you got Raw Monday, NXT on Tuesday, AEW Wednesday. You got Thursday. I guess Thursday's Impact, and I believe, and Friday is SmackDown. And I don't. Oh, wait a minute. Now, besides SmackDown, you got Rampage on Friday, and you got
yeah, that
Collision on
too.
Saturday.
Yeah,
So
exactly. So
yeah,
it's like Impact and some of the other ones there, they just get left behind, and
yeah,
it's just because there's just so much content throughout the week, and you only have so much time that some of them just get left behind, and it's not because they put out a bad product.
yeah.
Impact is actually a decent product, and I do tend to check them out every now and then when I get the opportunity, but it's just there's just so much.
Ring of Honor. If you're on the Honor Club app and you're signed in with them, you got Ring of Honor on Thursdays. Their show. So that's more wrestling right there, and they get forgotten about. They're putting on some stellar matches on the Ring of Honor platform, and unfortunately, unless you're part of the Honor Club, on their Ring of Honor app, you don't get to see any of that. Now you can watch highlights and stuff on YouTube, but if you want the full content, you're gonna have to pay that fee to get in there. And then New Japan Pro Wrestling just redid their app, their New Japan World app, and that doesn't get talked about enough. It's just there's so much stuff out there. I believe Impact falls by the wayside. What channel Impact airs on?
Um, I don't remember right off the top of my head because, like I say, I only get to catch it occasionally.
Yeah, it's
But
on a channel called Axis. That's what
yeah,
I can remember. But not a lot of people know that, and not a lot of people know what channel that's on their local television. It's different, It's not like USA or TNT or TBS. Those are mainstay television stations, and and also too, I want to reiterate that match, that Josh Alexander Will Ospreay match, in its entirety is on YouTube on the Impact page. You can go to that page if you want. It's about 24 minutes long. You won't regret it. And it's action packed from beginning to end. Perfect ring psychology. For anyone that's coming up in the business, I would tell them right now to watch that match.
well, I would definitely have to go check that one out because, like I say, honestly, I haven't seen that one and I haven't heard anybody talking about that one. So it's definitely one that I'm gonna go check out and see how it is myself because I believe when you say it's good, I believe it really is. So it sounds like one that I'd definitely want to see there.
Yeah, man, we got Will Ospreay, and he's doing some amazing work. He's got a triple threat match coming up at Wrestle Kingdom against him, John Moxley, and Dave Finlay, and they're going to tear the house down with that. So,
Yeah,
but
now
yeah,
he's signed with AEW. It's gonna be interesting to see how they use them and where it goes. And he may be the one that has to step up when MJF goes out.
I believe at some point, he's young enough. I think he's still in his 20s, I believe. Ospreay, I think like late 20s, and I believe he would be, a perfect fit down the road in the E. I'm glad he's in excuse me. Yeah, James Storm's a great worker. Seeing Ospreay sign with AEW is nice because we're going to get to see him weekly if we're lucky. Who I could go. I'm going to go on. I could go on a rant here. I'm probably going to go on a little rant. It's not part of High Spots, but I believe Mr. Adam Copeland may have made a mistake signing with AEW. Just my opinion. I think he should have waited a little bit now with what's going on in the E with Mr. Orton back and another person we'll probably talk about here soon. But it just feels like they've been showing Mr. Adam Copeland, aka Edge, and they're showing him in arenas that are barely filled, and it's just so sad seeing him in that environment because when you think of Edge, you think of a sold out arena. Now I hear they did pretty well for their full gear, for the pay-per-view that they filled that pretty good, but the shows itself, they're having hard times getting any crowds to these shows. And it's sad because, they're putting on a damn good show, I believe. Enough to make you want to change the channel if WWE and AEW were on at the same time. But I digress.
Especially if certain people were on.
So
yeah, especially if certain people are on WWE, that make you change channel. I don't care what you watch. So let's go ahead and hit that randomizer and see what it's gonna go ahead and bring up.
What's we have?
It hit the elephant in the room.
This guy right here. I don't care what you say. What's the question? We got a question? Do we even need a question for him?
Well, not that we probably need it, but
are we ready for another ride? Here's the thing. Oh my goodness. It's just the last time he's been talked about so much in the last he's been talked about so much in the last year. It's not even funny, I was talking to Skywalker a little while ago. I believe he sabotaged his time in AEW so he could get out of that contract to go back to the WWE. That's just my take on it. And I love him or hate him. The man gets news. He has he gets people talking about him. And they must you got to admit they let him talk at the end of the show, at the end of Raw last night. Not even 48 hours after he made his return. It tells you what type of faith they have in him. At the end, when he's not on microphone, he said, he's not there to make friends. He's there to make money. I think that was a jab at AEW because Tony Khan wanted to be buddy with him. And it's just this man, Eric Bischoff had his own book come out, Controversy Creates Cash. And I believe it's true whenever you bring CM Punk into the mix.
Yeah, definitely. Honestly, I am not a big CM Punk fan at all.
No, not a lot of people.
Actually,
are.
not even. I wouldn't even say not a big fan. I'm not a fan.
Okay.
And he
do
came
tell.
on,
I'd like to know. I want to know the reason why. I want to hear it.
I just never have been much on CM Punk, and then with the attitude he has and everything, it's almost like he just doesn't care.
No, we don't.
All the problems he's had and gotten kicked out, and he runs his mouth. He was on the whole time he was on AEW. When he get in the ring, he'd cut promos and throw WWE right out there,
Mm-hmm.
But I have never been able to get on the CM Punk train. Yeah, and when he came on TV last night, in a way, it's a good thing they made him the last thing because I turned my TV off at that point.
I just watched the they put the whole interview on Twitter or X, whatever they call it. So I
That's
watched
okay.
it. Yeah, but no, the man, he's jumping. It's just shocking that he's back in the WWE. But also too, why did he take so long off? Why did he? I know he was disgruntled back in was it 14 when he left the WWE, but it just he's he could be cancer, but you don't know. Who knows? Maybe he'll fly straight this time. He thinks he's a wrestling god. No one is better than him. Someone needs to knock him down and step in his face. Well, here's the thing: you could say that maybe he falls in the good graces of a lot of the hardcore fans by taking an L against a lot of the guys. Putting some people over. And what's sad about his return is it kind of made Orton's return a little like lackluster. It overshadowed it.
Yeah. I originally thought that as well, that it overshadowed Orton. And to the people at home, it may have overshadowed at home. But
Yeah.
honestly, if you listen to the crowd when he came out, yes, he got a pop. He did. And I can't deny that. But I think the pop for Orton was louder. It really was. And when the show was over and the cameras were gone and Punk was no longer out there, Orton was still out there, and Orton was stopping, signing autographs for just about every fan that wanted one, taking pictures with every fan that wanted one. He went the whole way up the aisle doing that. Then he actually went around the stage doing that, and then before he ever exited the stage, he tried to make sure everybody who wanted the opportunity got it. And after I saw video of that and everything, I realized for the people there, it didn't overshadow it. Orton still had the biggest part of it. So I guess for Orton it didn't overshadow it, and I guess for the
Okay.
fans there it may not have. But the fans at home, I feel it did. Especially being that's how they ended it.
Yeah. Yeah. It was total shock to a lot of people when he uh, when Punk came out at the very end. It wasn't expected. I thought supposedly, I keep up on Shinsuke Nakamura. I really wish they would do more with him, give him a heavyweight title run. Supposedly, he was calling out someone to fight. I thought they were going to pull the trigger at Survivor Series, and that was when Punk would come back and work a match. But I guess it worked better having him come out at the very end, not have him work anybody. And did you see Punk's or Rollins' reaction? Did you see like there's some unedited footage of him after the show went off the air flipping out?
Yes,
So
I saw
supposedly,
that.
yeah. Now I believe, uh, a lot of people are saying that no one besides like maybe one other person knew that Punk was coming back, and even the boys in the main event didn't know. But I don't. That's a business. I don't think they would keep that under wraps. I think everyone knew, and
Actually,
they're
actually, I saw the press conference afterwards,
okay.
and they actually asked Triple H how many people besides himself knew that Punk was returning. And he said he kept that under pretty tight wraps, and that him and Tony Khan, or
Nikon,
Nick Khan, sorry,
yeah.
him and Nick Khan were the only two that knew that, and they did not let really many people outside of that know because they
I don't
did
know.
not want it to get out.
I think it's pretty. You know, I think it's pretty. I don't know, shady on my end that you would keep your heavyweight champion Rollins out of the loop. on something like that. I don't know. It just um, boggles my mind that they would keep that from the upper echelon of the names in the business and the company. So, just
But
my
yeah,
take.
I did see that reaction online. I also saw online where apparently, I guess it was the next day, they had a house show,
Yeah,
and
I saw that
Seth
too.
Rollins did a promo in the ring where I totally agree with what he said,
Yeah.
because personally, it's the point that I'm at. Um, and that is, I'm not going to waste any more breath on somebody who's been gone for 8 years and has done nothing but try to tear this place down. So,
Um, yeah, Rollins wants to keep it. He's been, he's been a workhorse with the company, and I have a feeling maybe he feels that he's a threat. Punk is a threat, sadly to say, and not storyline, related. He is a threat. Just like how the feud between Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels, back in '96, '97. Yeah, they did the screw job, but at the time, Hart wasn't ready to pass the torch. He wasn't ready to, give up his spot. So this could be the new Michaels and Hart feud. Between Rollins and Punk. That'd be interesting to see, in my opinion.
yeah. So to kind of switch gears from Punk a little bit, last night Nakamura actually made it known
Yeah,
who he was talking to, and it turned out to be Cody Rhodes.
yeah, I saw that. He spit the mist in his face, and I think that was in honor of that was a nod to the Great Muta. I think he did that on purpose because I think he was great. One of Great Muta's final matches.
Yeah.
Shinsuke was. So, yeah, I saw that too. But I really thought they were going to, have it be Punk. But I have a feeling this is a nice little in the middle type feud for Cody going into the Rumble. It'll be a nice little feud because I don't think do they have any other pay per views between now or what do you call it? They're not called pay per view anymore, right? They're called
Yeah, they're called premium
premium
live
live
events.
events. Yeah. So, do you think are there any more premium live events between now and the Rumble?
I don't believe so. Not for actual WWE. Now for NXT, I know they have one in December,
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't think that WWE actually has one until then. Um, so that definitely will keep him busy.
Yeah. And I also heard last night on Raw that Rollins' next challenger is Jey Uso. So, but also at the same time too, McIntyre destroyed him. I thought last night when he found out that he was in the ring with Rollins, asking him who's going to be the next challenger. And I think we do have a high spots regarding Mr. McIntyre.
Yes, we actually do. We'll just go ahead and bring up the
Yeah, go ahead and bring him up
question
because
here real quick. We'll try not to break the randomizer, but
it's all right. Don't break it. I know
So
it's like an old car.
yeah,
So
but yeah, the question is with the loss at War Games, what is next for Drew McIntyre?
yeah, I believe with what's going on, Drew McIntyre hasn't had a good last year and a half. He couldn't defeat Reigns at was it Clash of the Castle for the heavyweight title. He couldn't defeat Gunther multiple times, especially in the triple threat match with him and Sheamus against Gunther, and then again at SummerSlam. And then he aligned himself with Judgment Day because he wants to take out Jey Uso because he blames Jey Uso and the rest of the bloodline for costing him his heavyweight title chances. But he, he aligned himself and he came up short, and it made him look like a fool, in my opinion. He just keeps taking hit after hit on the chin, taking it on the chin, and seeing him flip out because he's not the next challenger. Why would he be the next challenger? He hasn't done anything remarkable to earn that. And wasn't the last PLE before that in Saudi Arabia when he took on Rollins and Rollins defeated him before Survivor Series? Yeah. So yeah, why would you be number one contender when you can't even, he hasn't done anything remarkable in the last year and a half. I don't know what's next for him. Maybe, they're going to build him up to be a force to be reckoned with in the Rumble. But if Gunther's in the Rumble, then it doesn't make it very believable, in my opinion. So,
yeah, and Susie thinks that he'll cost Jay the title when Jay goes for his title shot here next Monday night. So, and probably so, wouldn't surprise me. But yeah, he had his shot at the title, and he lost it. He lost it fair and square at that. So, get to the back of the line, work your way back up. But
yeah, pretty much. That's and he's not too happy about that. He probably, he's blaming his losses on making excuses, saying, bloodline cost me this. So he lost fair and square to Gunther at SummerSlam. He couldn't get the IC, he can't even get the IC title belt, the secondary belt, So I don't know, he's got to work himself back up because this negativity he's throwing out there, being all upset and stuff, it's not helping his cause. Him getting angry doesn't help.
No, not at all. And I'm like you, I don't see where he has done enough to actually be able to challenge again. I mean, he went for the world title a while back, in his home country. He lost that match. And now since then, what he hasn't done a whole lot. And when he has been out there, has he even won? He hasn't won a lot since then. So I don't see where he has earned himself a title shot again. And to sit there and say, well, I want my title shot and I want this and I want that. He's just being a little crybaby. And I did read a thing after he lost to Roman that basically WWE was going to try to bury him until his contract ended. And in a way, I kind of think that might be what they're doing because, like I say, he hasn't won much or he hasn't had a whole lot to talk about since he lost that shot.
Yeah, and it's, I really enjoyed the feud he had, with Sheamus and Gunther. Seeing those three, having hard-hitting matches, it just it's a shame because McIntyre, he's a good hand. I really feel bad for him since he was a champion during Assad. I feel bad for him that he was a champion during the COVID times, because there was nobody in attendance at the shows that he was a heavyweight champion for. Oh, but then again, I never could get on board with McIntyre as a heavyweight champion. I don't know. I didn't feel it. So
yeah, I don't know. I know, like Susie, she likes Drew, and she really wanted to see Drew win the championship. I wanted to see him win it when he was against Roman, just because I wanted to see somebody dethrone Roman. But I never have really gotten behind Drew to the point of a champion, so, and I don't think a lot of people have really gotten behind Drew to that point. So I don't think he is the next champion.
No, I don't think I don't think he's somebody to have the champion face. Kind of like when Hogan was the champion. There was a ton of guys that you're like, no, I don't see them. I don't see them being champion. Being a good challenger. Every champion needs a good challenger. But I don't feel it when I see him. When you see championship material, it's just so it's sad to say because he's built like a brick shit house, and he's had some phenomenal matches in the last 10, 15 years. When he left the WWE the first time, he wound up in Impact, and he made a nice little dent there, having matches with Bobby Lashley, Kurt Angle. He had some fantastic bouts while he was there. It's just when he came to the WWE, I don't know. They had him win the Rumble. I remember that. Right before COVID struck, but they just COVID kind of maybe put a damper on his run. I don't know. So.
Yes, something happened, but well, I guess we'll have to wait and see what really is next for him. I mean, I know he's got that match next week on Raw himself. So
who's he facing on Raw? Who's McIntyre facing?
Shoot, I had it until you asked me. Because he was talking to somebody on Raw, and they were telling him, who was it? They were telling him that he just needed to kind of step back a little bit and
he didn't like
work
that.
his way back up, and Sami Zayn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Sami was telling him,
yeah,
he should take a step back, work his way back up, and he told Sami that he thought that was a good idea, and that he was going to go to Adam Pearce and ask for a match next week, and it was going to be against Sami Zayn.
Oh well, so, yeah, he's going to take out his frustrations on Sami Zayn. Who, man, when that whole bloodline thing was going on, wasn't that fun watching him in that storyline? Seeing Sami Zayn in that storyline. Oh man, we've had a lot of good times in wrestling in the last year, I believe.
Oh yeah, definitely, and that whole bloodline thing really gave Sami Zayn a push, and he really needed it, and it was at the right time, and it's just boosted him to the moon since then, and and I love to see that. Sami seems like he's a good guy, and he deserves it. He works hard, so I was glad to see somebody like Sami actually get rewarded for what he's doing. So.
Yeah, and I enjoyed seeing him teaming up with Kevin. I wish they would have kept that team going for a little while longer. I know they were beat up towards the end of their run. It seems like these guys get hot, and then they push them so much while they're hot that it beats them up to the where, they gotta take some time back. So.
Yeah, Night Owl thinks that they have missed the boat with Sami, and the tag team with Kevin was too short, which honestly I wasn't excited when I heard that they were moving Kevin to SmackDown and that was splitting up that tag team. I really felt that they should keep the two of them together and let them run some more. So I tend to agree with him. So WWE always
talent. Well,
always underutilized
yes and no.
really good talent. Yeah. Yeah, it's like I was saying earlier, when we were talking about MJF and the possibility of him coming over. There's a lot of good people that I've seen him misuse, but there's also just as many good people that I've seen that they've really pushed. So
Yeah,
now I have seen them push
understandable.
some so-so ones that I've wondered, why are they pushing that person? Yeah,
Yeah,
it just
yeah.
doesn't make sense. But I think they've gotten more of the big names and the good names than they have the so-so ones.
Yeah, it seems like I don't know, like I've been watching a lot of old school stuff when I can, and it seems like you know, back in '92 when it was when Flair won the Rumble and they were deciding who was going to be the next number one contender before they made it Macho Man against Flair. It was going to be Hogan versus Flair, but then they saw the numbers weren't great. Well, when they announced it, Sid Justice. I don't know if you remember Psycho Sid Vicious. He went by Sid
Yeah,
Justice in '92, and he went when he found out Hogan was going to be the number one contender. He gets on there saying that Jack Tunney wanted Hogan just because he was Mr. Hollywood. And when you think of Hogan in Hollywood, you don't have very good memories of Hogan in Hollywood. So it just also too that was the transitioning period for Sid because they wanted him to be the next Hulk Hogan, but he didn't want to he wanted to be a big bad heel. He didn't want to be a baby face. So, um, man, we're going off the rails here. But
hey,
yeah,
it's all good. It's wrestling, and then that's what we're here to talk.
yeah, that's right. That's right. You're right. So I think we got a few more high spots, don't we?
Oh yeah, we got a few more high spots. So let's go ahead and we should be joined by our guest here shortly. So let's go ahead and see if we can get another topic or two in here before our
Yeah,
guest tonight
and
joins
hell,
us.
we could go back and speak with him about what he thinks about what's going on, recently in
Oh
the
yeah,
the world of wrestling. So,
definitely, definitely. So let's go ahead and hit that randomizer.
oh yeah, this is where I mark out Hoss. So pop that question up there.
Come on. All right, something's not working right here. There we go.
There we go. How should the storybook end for the icon? I don't know if much has been talked about his announcement of his retirement here on the show uh, because of my issues with the internet as of late. But yeah, Sting is one of my favorites of all time, and I really wanted to talk about this. Oh, she got a kiss from Sting once. Pretty sweet. It just, he's 60, he's gonna be 65 years old when he retires, and he's still wrestling. Even though it's in tag matches and stuff, he's still putting on a good show. Who would imagine? When you see Flair when he was 64, 65, and he was retired because he retired at 59, I believe, when Shawn Michaels beat him at WrestleMania 24. Uh, I don't know. Sting has got a different aesthetic to him. I don't know. He looks like he's not an old man. Maybe it's the paint on his face that's keeping him young. But I really, really hope they do some great things with him because March is not too far off. That's when I believe was it Revolution, AEW's Revolution, or
Yeah,
and I really hope they do some good things with him here because I wouldn't mind seeing him in a couple singles matches. I don't think that will do that. I always thought it would have been great heel versus face dynamic if MJF would have been a heel and have him retire Sting. I don't know. That's just my opinion, but I really hope he goes out in a blaze of glory.
yeah. I'm not sure exactly who I want to see retire Sting, um, because most of the people I would like to see Sting go against, or I would think would be a decent person for Sting's retirement, they're not heels. And
Yeah.
you know, you don't want to see Sting turn heel, obviously, either. So you don't know. I can't think of too many heels right off that I would want to see. Now, you know, like you say, with MJF, he would be a decent match. I think that would be a good match to watch. And MJF, he can kind of go either way, and I think he's getting to be the point where he's like Steve Austin used to be. I think the fans like him no matter what he does. If he's a heel, they still like him. So
Yeah.
and Night Out, he loves the fact that Sting's going out on his own terms, which is good. I agree. It's great to see them go out on their own terms and not have to cut their career short for injury or anything else. So, and Aaron Sting will always be an icon in his book, and I'm sure that sentiment is echoed by
A lot
a
of people.
lot.
Yeah,
I
and
have,
right now he's got a undefeated record in AEW. Wonder if they'll keep him undefeated, let him keep a perfect record when he retires, or if he'll be looking up at the rafters when his last match comes. I don't know. It's been nice seeing him, and having these matches, doing the things he's doing, jumping off of stuff, and you know. Powering up, when he's getting a beat down and the guys, he's beating that chest and hollering. It's always, good to see. That's old school Sting. Tony Schiavone actually said when he was doing a What Happened When podcast with Conrad Thompson, said he wouldn't mind seeing Sting go back to the Surfer Sting look for his last match. Bust that out for, I wouldn't mind seeing it either because I actually enjoyed the Surfer Sting. His matches with Vader, Rick Rude, and Ric Flair were some of the best matches in the history of pro wrestling, in my opinion. So,
oh yeah, I have a friend of mine who I have known for years and years. I went to high school around the same time he did and everything, and he was a huge Sting mark for years. And he is also still loves Sting, so he's another one that Sting will always be an icon in his eyes. So Sting has touched a lot of fans in one way or another,
yes.
no matter whether they've met him or not. And I really respect Sting, and I wish him the best when he does go out, and hopefully they will send him out in good style.
And I really wish they could somehow get his classic Crow theme from when he was in WCW to come out too. I know that's easier said than done because of copyright laws. But hell, they had him come out to Seek and Destroy at All Out in London. So, why not have him come out to, some classic music if they could pay, they can pay for it. That Khan family's worth, billions, I believe, the father,
Yeah, they can definitely they can work it if they really want to.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, I see our guest is backstage, and so I know we've been talking a lot of wrestling here, and
Yeah,
it's
let's keep
always
talking
great
more
to
wrestling.
talk. So, let's go ahead and bring our guest on, and we can chit chat a little wrestling with him as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome tonight our guest. He has been wrestling now for a while, and he's been at Elite Wrestling. He's been at WDWA. He spent a lot of time in tag team father figures, and he gets to be accompanied to the ring with his daughter Kid and his tag team partner Unk. So he is the current Turkey Brawl champion at
What?
WDWA. So let's go ahead and bring him in here. He is the one, the only Daniel Alexander Dabrowski, otherwise known as Dad.
What's
Welcome
up,
to the
fellas?
show.
How we doing?
How
How
are
you
you
doing,
doing
man? Welcome to
tonight?
the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Pleasure to have you tonight. Always love getting people on and just chit chatting, wrestling with them. And you know, I've seen you many a times there at WDWA, and so it's good to sit and chat with you.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah, I'm going to say, I'm going to hardcore. Let me, sorry to interrupt you.
good.
Dad, this is going to be like the first time I've, seen you and seen what you've done, doing some research on you and stuff. Tell us a little bit about yourself to the fans on here that don't know what your work's about.
Sure. Yeah, I've been doing this about 10 years now. I started kind of by accident. Met a friend of mine from childhood who was running his own promotion. Um, so I started training with the Elite Pro Wrestling Alliance with Jake the Machine Davis. Got my start with them. Unc and I actually were part of a tag team when we first started training, actually under a different tag team name, which is called the Appalachian Americans. Um, so we've always tried to find the humor in wrestling. That was our favorite part of wrestling growing up, especially coming up through the Attitude Era as kids. So that was kind of where we got our start. Unfortunately, about 5 years into my career, I suffered a pretty bad injury at work. I was in law enforcement. I ruptured my pec, bicep, all kinds of stuff. So I had to miss about 2 years of work and and wrestling as well.
Damn.
So I was lucky to come back. So when I did come back, I couldn't start over. Unc had already moved on to do his own thing. So yeah, sorry, Susie, I got to talk about Unc. He's my best friend. But unfortunately, I had to kind of reinvent myself. And, Chris Jericho has a great quote that says, your wrestling gimmick is always yourself turned all the way up to 11. And I take pride in annoying my kids at being that awkward dad and always having a dad joke at the ready. So that's just what I leaned right into it and kind of reinvented myself and kind of refound myself there. Kind of fell in love with the business again, to be honest with you. So I'm even lucky to still be doing this, to be completely fair. So
That's awesome. That's awesome. And you say you love the comedy and wrestling. What is some of your what are some of your favorite parts of what are some of your favorite spots in history of wrestling when it comes to comedy? Can you anything bring you to
Rock and Socks probably right up there with some of the best stuff that I've ever seen. I mean, you could go all the way back to Dusty Rhodes. Some of the stuff Dusty did was way ahead of his time. Both with his ability.
Are you talking about when he came to the WWF and did the the working man gimmick?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Some of my favorite promos of all time. And I'm not exactly a little guy, so I'm not. You're not going to see me doing a whole lot of the lucha spots like some of these young kids. So watching Dusty is a bigger person being able to just go out there and really put on a show and still be really athletic. So I've always kind of strived to kind of at least attempt to follow in his footsteps, which is almost impossible. But yeah, I mean, Chris Jericho and his list of Jericho, I thought that was quite humorous and had a nice run. And one of my favorite workers of all time was Santino Marella. Some of his stuff, it was kind of cheesy, but at the same time, I mean, if you look back on some of his stuff before he was in the WWE, he was a fantastic worker and still is. He's one of the best trainers out there right now. So that's guys like that paved the way for people like me who aren't gifted with the athletic prowess of some of these guys. So gives me a reason to stick around, I guess.
Well, everything. Wrestling is a hodgepodge, a grab bag of everything with athleticism put to it. It's the perfect form of athleticism and theater, if you think about it. And whenever you're talking about comedy and wrestling, I'm a retired worker myself, and I could never. I kind of had a seriousness to myself, so I could never do the funny stuff. And my mentor, the trainer, one of the past hosts of the show, Luke Roberts Skywalker, he always liked that comedy aspect. And one of the comedy things that bring to mind when it comes to wrestling was during the height of the Attitude Era when Mark Henry and Mae Young were having a relationship, and she gave birth to a hand. So that was, So Hoss, I'm sorry to shoot right out of the cannon here. Was talking to him, but I've never met the gentleman before, so I wanted to get a feel for him. So go ahead, Mr. Hoss.
Oh no, you're perfectly fine. It's great to see, have the opportunity to learn more about him and everything.
Yeah.
So, what is one thing that the world should know about you?
Man, that's a good question. To be honest with you, let's go back to the comedy spots. I mean, as much as I enjoy doing them, I take pride in my ability to toe the line between taking the job serious, as well as maybe making somebody smile, getting a reaction out of somebody, whether it's positive or negative. Um, so my goal every time, no matter where I'm booked at, no matter what federation I'm working for, I've always taken things seriously. And it may not seem like that when I'm out there, but from the time I walk into a building to the time I leave, I take the business very seriously. Otherwise, and if I didn't, I shouldn't be there. And that's for anybody watching, whether you're a fan, whether you're still working or you're interested in working. You got to take this serious, man. Our lives are in the balance when we're in there. Some of the stuff we decide to do. Yeah, Susie. One of my favorite moments of all time. Susie fell asleep before when my entrance music hit, so I decided to wake her up. She's never fallen asleep ever again. So sorry, Susie. But yeah, I mean, I just that's the biggest thing is taking things seriously, and always providing a good product and to the best of my ability. Those are some of my core values when it comes to this business.
So, you've been doing a lot of work over the years with WDWA. I've gotten to know you from there. I've gotten to see your character from a heel perspective, carrying a camcorder into the ring, to being a fan favorite that you are now. And, you know, you actually got to win the turkey brawl this past time, or actually back in November. You got to win the turkey brawl, and with that, you get to challenge for any WDWA title at any time.
Correct. Yeah.
So, would that be your first singles title if you win that one?
Yeah, that's a good question. Unc and I have talked about it. We've already been tag team champions with WDWA. So I can't say that that's not a priority. It definitely is. It's going to be whatever opportunity comes at the best moment for me or us. Whatever happens. Unc and I aren't young anymore. So you never know when the injury bug's going to bite. So we both try to stay very healthy, try to stay active. So I'm looking forward to cashing that in at the best opportunity that makes the most sense for us or myself. I'm not a selfish guy when it comes to this tag team. Like I said, Unc and I have worked together for off and on almost 10 years now, minus a few years off because of an injury. But yeah, I mean, I have every title. None of them are safe. Absolutely none of them are safe. So if that opportunity arises, I mean, Haas, you were there this past weekend. Kikoa showed up at the last minute and took that title away from Beastman. You know, Kikoa might be at this next show. So I mean, just because I'm in the main event doesn't mean I can't, pop my head into his match and steal that title away from him. So if you've got a strap on, you better be careful because I'm watching.
Oh yeah, he's already been announced to be at the next show, and
Yeah, that's right.
he's actually defending against Prince Noah.
Mhm.
And you mentioned the next show. You've had the whole invasion from Voltage. Mike Raddick actually won ownership of the company from LT. It doesn't seem the fans are happy about that at all, and doesn't seem that a lot of you guys are happy about that. And next show is actually going to be for all the marbles, either the previous management of WDWA will be leaving WDWA and Mike Raddick gets it all, or the previous management actually gets WDWA back and Mike Raddick leaves for good. And it's going to be a 5-on-5 match. And I saw that just a little bit ago, about 4 hours ago, they released the final of the team for WDWA, which will be yourself and Unk with Jordan Evans, Gavin Jackson, and the Latin Tornado. So that looks like a pretty tough team. Of course, Voltage has their team that they released yesterday with Mike Raddick, Heine Hex, Jace Carr, and Sons of Myth and Country. So, uh, what do you have to say about that match that you'll be coming up in?
It's been kind of an organic thing. We haven't really faced anybody from Voltage in the ring. We've been around. I was at Berkeley Mania. I don't know if you remember, Haas. Unc and I weren't on that card, which kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. We had a conversation with Latin Tornado with Gavin Jackson. We explained to them like, listen, we're other than big money, we're your one of your toughest tag teams you have on that roster. And not to take anything away from big money, they got the tag team titles. They're both massive men. Um, not to think that we were an afterthought, but after Berkeley Mania, we put our foot down and said, listen, if you want somebody in your corner to help fight Voltage to get this company back there, and at that time to keep Voltage from taking this company away from us, we want to be included. And it's just kind of funny how it's happened. The last two matches I've had, Voltage's referee Justin has been my referee. If you remember at the Turkey Brawl, he refused to raise my hand. Um, LT took that personal too and decided to, Justin ended up with a very badly sprained ankle after that. I don't even feel sorry for him because respect is something I take seriously in this business, and being disrespected is how you get on my list. I mean, I'm not Jericho, but I keep receipts, and I got one for Justin. And then just this past weekend, I mean, I got hit with a trophy, and I got hit with a speaker. All while Justin stood there and watched, and still counted three as I laid there trying to gather my thoughts. Um, so when it comes to how serious I'm going to take this, this company has meant a lot to me, especially the last couple of years. I've Unc and I have both fought for this company for I think about 3 years, 4 years straight right now. They're helping me pay bills. I got a contract with them. So when this opportunity came about because of Justin sticking his nose where it didn't belong. I made the announcement. I cut that promo at the end of that match that I wanted to be involved and that Unc wanted to be involved. We're going to show up and we're going to show no mercy. Hardcore matches aren't something that I've had a lot of experience with. But it comes as part of the job. You never know what you're going to get booked into. And Gavin and LT trust us. Jordan Evans is a fantastic athlete, probably one of the best athletes on that roster. A very dear friend of mine. He's a new father as well, so technically he could become part of the father figures if he wanted to. We could have a conversation about that. But priorities right now, like you said, I have that title opportunity. The only thing on my mind right now is making sure that orders are stored to WDWA on December 9th. And I don't care what I have to do. I don't care how much pain, what do I have to put my body through. We're gonna win this company back. I mean, that's all there is to it. Um, the day I don't have to see Mike Raddick in that locker room is gonna be the best day of my life. Well, one of the best days of my life. But I'm sick and tired of him, screwing people over. He tried to screw over DeMarcus Kane. Brother, I don't know, Mr. Wade. I don't know if you know DeMarcus, but he's about 6'5", about 320 pounds of raw muscle.
Damn.
Not somebody I'd want to tick off, but it happened this weekend. So and I'm willing to put my body on the line to make sure that the WDWA comes back home. So it's going to be an exciting event.
Good
the guys
luck.
Voltage are bringing they're good athletes as well, but heart goes a long way. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, definitely. He was talking about DeMarcus Kane. If you don't know who DeMarcus Kane is, go back through the archives of the shows, and we have had DeMarcus Kane on the show before. So,
oh yeah, he's a monster.
Yeah. So let me go ahead and throw it back to you there, Justin. You got any more questions there?
Yeah, we don't ask this a lot. Well, I mean, it probably comes up every so often. What's your finishing move?
So a tag finisher, we actually just started messing around with one. We don't really have a name for it, but we use it's kind of like a back suplex power bomb spot. We use it seems to be pretty effective. I tend to be a little more of the muscle of our tag team. Unk's a little bit older than me. He's got a couple years on me. But I mean, I'm 6'1", 235 pounds. He's 5'8", likes to drink a little bit. So we tend to balance each other out in that way. I use a lot of stuff like Kurt Angle. I mean, I spent a lot of time as a wrestler in high school. So Kurt Angle was a big inspiration for me. Got to meet him a few times.
Same here.
So I use an angle slam. I've been known to slap an ankle lock every once in a while. So between Unk and I'm definitely the more technical one. But man, Unk, he's a loose cannon. He'll show up every once in a while and surprise us with something. But yeah, that's I try to stick to the more your power moves. It's just something that's always fit my style a little bit better. Yeah, the angle slam is definitely something that I've been using a lot lately.
It's a great finishing hold. I used to perform it as well. I used to try to perfect it from the top rope like he would, like how the guy would be on the top rope and all of a sudden he'd bounce up and jump and hit it off people. He always destroyed guys like Mysterio when he would hit Mysterio with it.
Right,
so yeah, I loved his moveset. I took a lot from him, from Dynamite Kid. Yeah, so there's a lot of what's fun about being a wrestler ourselves is what we can go back in history and use for ourselves. So yeah, and speaking of the World Professional Wrestling, do you keep up with what's going on in today's what's going on?
I don't have a
hard
choice.
To keep up.
As Haas touched on, my daughter just got involved like just this past year. My kids have always gone to most of the events with me wherever I'm booked, depending on what they're doing in their own time. But she really took an interest in like the past year. She's had a couple training sessions with me. She just turned 15, so she's not quite ready to step out on her own yet. Clay Jacobs, so somebody I know Haas is familiar with. She's trained with him a few times before his injury. So she's got a good idea of how the business works. So I don't have a choice. Like 2-3 days a week, that's what we're watching on TV. So I do my best to keep up with things, but yeah,
What do you think about Punk coming back to the WWE?
it doesn't surprise me. It's been teased for what 7 years now. It was bound to happen. Having a pay per view in Chicago made sense. Every time a pay per view shows up in Chicago, his name gets thrown out there. The timing seems right. Vince is gone, so I think that had a lot to do with Punk not coming back when he until now. Um, yeah, it is what it is. I mean, it's the wrestling business. You never say never. Um, you know, his name brings in ticket sales. Uh, he's a good athlete. He's a little past his prime probably, but I mean, I'm a Randy Orton guy. I love seeing R-Truth come back too. So those were bigger pops for me.
Yeah.
I think R-Truth, if used correctly, could be a fantastic addition to that roster now that he's back. But I'm sure they'll do something fun with Punk. I'm sure there'll be a marquee event with his name on it. So.
Oh yeah, and seeing Orton come back, I was telling Haas earlier, it feels like it was kind of overshadowed by Punk coming back. Orton is looking like he's ready to take the company into the next level with the way he's looking jacked. I'm not gonna lie, it looks like Mister he tapped into his bottle of youth, aka the HGH probably, and but yeah, it's good seeing these returns. It's always exciting when people make a return. Did you get to catch the Survivor Series? Then I'm assuming.
Yeah, and touching on Randy, I mean, that his return was super emotional for me because I mean that back injury he had was very serious. He
Yeah.
had multiple vertebrae fused. Um, he looks the best he's probably ever looked. Um, and seeing somebody with a serious injury, I get it. I mean, a lot of us deal with that. Clay Jacobs, they would just mention him; he's dealing with it right now. So seeing guys come back from serious injuries, I mean, it's not just physical. That's a mental hurdle that you have to overcome. And I don't know if you noticed, Randy took about 10 seconds there on that turnbuckle before he hit his pose. And I truly think he was just soaking it in because that, I get it. I get it.
No, they said he took a moment. He got a little emotional when he
Yeah.
last night on Raw. When he's looking good. I'm ready to see him get the heavyweight belt at some point, either from Roman. I think everybody's done with Roman. Everybody's tired of him holding the belt. But it's good to see him back. Like you said, it's good to see Truth back. Just wrestling right now in general is really fun to watch right now.
It's in a good spot.
Yeah, and like me and Haas were talking. There's content almost every night. Seems like there's so much though. We were talking about Josh earlier, and
Oh, you were breaking up there. I didn't hear the end of it. But yeah, I did catch a little. What's that? Yeah, your microphone's cutting in and out. Yeah, I caught a little bit of what you guys were talking about earlier when it came to what's on TV with TNA, with Ring of Honor, with all these other programs that are running right now, and it reminds me of the late '90s or early 2000s when there was always wrestling on. You had your Saturday morning stuff. I mean, I would get out of bed just in time to watch all that stuff. But it's really nice to see wrestling in a good place right now, and it doesn't matter what company you watch. There's some really really good talent out there, really good stories being told, and I would love to see Roman Reigns get knocked off. It's about time. So I really don't even care who does it.
Yeah, Justin, you're still breaking up.
Yeah.
Damn it.
I'll give you a minute there to try to fix it. So you kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, um, I mentioned how Kid escorts you to the ring. How did that actually come about that you decided, okay, let's have her start coming to the ring with us?
I was kind of put in the corner. She for about a year she was helping the WDWA with whatever they needed, whether setting up, tearing down, doing the concessions. Um, she came to me one day and said, "Dad, I really want to get involved. I want to train." So I explained to her how serious the business was, and it wasn't going to be easy. It's not like a varsity basketball practice at high school. I mean, it's going to be tough. And after her first day of training, it was about 2 hours worth. She was sore, but she asked when we could go back. So I knew it was about time to bring her in. Um, she's a natural. She knows exactly what she's supposed to do when she's out there with me. Um, her the night she debuted was kind of an accident too. We were in a match with the regulators, and those guys were really giving her the business, and she went ahead and took things into her own hands there for a second. I think surprised me, surprised everybody else. And there's a video out there where she hit a tornado DDT off the second rope on one half of the regulators. And that was the moment that I realized, hey, this is probably going to be something she's going to do for a while. And it's also kept me going too. I mean, I'm not getting any younger. My body hurts. I'm having knee problems right now, so um, I might have to take a little bit of time off to get that addressed at some point in time. But her being out there with me is keeping me going. And seeing her smile on her face, and listen to her talk all the way on the rides home from different events. It's all she wants to do. Yeah, Susie was proud of her. Yes, Susie's probably her biggest fan. She's signing autographs, she's taking pictures with fans. I mean, she's loving the limelight, so she gets it naturally. It is fun to see, and it's definitely keeping me motivated to continue doing this and to bring her up correctly in the business. So
You got your mic fixed yet, Justin?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you now.
All right, good. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry to bring the show to a halt.
oh, you're good.
Oh no, things happen. We just have to adjust.
Is it game
I
show?
told Kid to swing by and say hi if she gets her homework done on time. So we'll see.
So, what were you asking before when your mic cut out, Justin?
Well, I was just saying we have so much content that it's kind of hard to follow everything. Like we were talking about how on Impact they had Will Ospreay against Josh Alexander, and almost no one is talking about that match. It's a pay-per-view caliber match, and it was on Impact, and I was letting people know that it's on YouTube right now, the full match in its entirety, if anyone wants to watch it. So
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet. Will Ospreay is one of my favorite. Yeah, of course he can do stuff that I can't, and I'm super envious of that. Um, I love watching his stuff. Even back when he was on the independent circuit, um, just what he's capable of doing is incredible. And no, Susie, Unk is not here. I thought about it. I thought about inviting him over, but he
no,
says
but
no. Susie knows he's her favorite.
so So you said you've been you tag mostly 70%, correct? You like that's
Yeah, that's about
mostly.
right.
Do you prefer that over the single work, or is it just?
Um, it's just what I'm more comfortable with. I spent a lot of time, a lot of matches in the tag team world, and it's a different animal than singles competition. Singles competition. I've had some really good opportunities in the singles world. With Elite Pro, I had a couple matches with Bodie Williams for the heavyweight title. If you guys know who Bodie is, he's very very talented independent wrestler, and he pushed me more than anybody else has pushed me in the ring, most likely. Um, I spent some time with Doc Gallows. Went toe to toe with him on the microphone, and that's
Oh
not easy
wow!
to do. Um, D'Lo Brown gave me a sky high at one point in time, and after a singles match. So I've had some really good opportunities as a singles wrestler. But yeah, tag team wrestling is where my love and my passion is, especially right now. Yeah, that may change down the road. Um, but for now, my focus is this tag team division with WDWA, and anywhere else that we may potentially get booked. So that's what we're looking forward to right now. There's a couple places that I can't really say right now because they're not set in stone. That we may be traveling a little bit to Ohio, North Carolina, potentially Florida. We have some friends that run promotions that one of them is just getting off the ground in the last year. So we'd like to go down and just show him some love. So if that opportunity ever arises, we'll definitely take advantage of that as well. But that's the best part about this business is I'm sure you guys know. A lot of us can't, we can't wrestle forever. So most of us start our own promotions and or at least help with other promotions and help build the future of this business. So
that's so I tell everybody that we should do our best to make the future to keep the business going so it's easier for the guys in the future. A lot of people say that people have it easy now. Well, they think that. The old school people think that. The people that are in the business right now, they probably don't think that. They're probably scrounging up all they can to make their next town to make sure they're booked because everybody's dreaming. Hell, I never dreamt to go to WWE, TNA, WCW. I always wanted to go to New Japan. Oh, to this day, I always wanted to wrestle in Japan. What about you? What was your dreams when you got into the business?
To be honest with you, it was Ring of Honor. When I was about 16 years old, I went to a WWE event in Pittsburgh. And as you know, Ring of Honor was running there pretty heavy for a long time.
Yeah.
Those guys were handing out free DVDs outside of the arena. And they were like, "Here, take a couple," and it was just past pay-per-views. And you had guys like Kevin Owens. You had I can't remember who else was on this, but Kevin Owens is the one that stuck out to me. He was like 19, 20-year-old kid. It was just really, really cool to see. What they were able to do and the towns that they were running in, the houses they were pulling in, wrestling. An independent show wrestling in front of a couple thousand people is pretty rare.
Yes.
And there's we're out here on the East Coast and like Three Legacies Wrestling with Ricardo Rodriguez. He's running a heck of a promotion up there. Very good friend of mine, Shane Malice. I know Haas knows Shane. He just had him and Jason Radis both just started getting booked with them. I just watched their last event. It was a really well ran event. So I mean the East Coast is a hotbed for independent wrestling again, which is nice to see. I talked about a former very close friend of mine, Tyler Nimmons. He's running Florida Wrestling Empire down in Florida. He's another homegrown elite guy. So it's just really cool to see what these guys are doing. A lot of good stuff happening out there right now. But yeah, Ring of Honor was always something I wanted to land at. I mean, it's still a possibility. I'm not a young kid anymore, so I don't know if they're looking for that kind of talent. But you see stuff and it's like, man, that would be so cool to be a part of one day. So that's the goal. I mean, I know these big TV contracts are probably out of reach for me, but I like to keep things a little more realistic. And supporting these local independent promotions is something that I've always taken pride in. And WDWA's home right now. They've always treated me really, really well. The contracts I've signed with them have always been very friendly, and they've always put me in a good position to be successful. So I'm gonna do my best to do the same for them.
Now, when you say that they were handing out DVDs outside the WWE event, was it workers from Ring of Honor that were doing it?
I assume so. I didn't recognize any of them. Again, I wasn't in the business. I was just a fan at the time.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. So it was really cool just to kind of get a flyer. Hey, speaking of which, kid's here. She wants to say hi real quick.
Hello.
Hey, kid.
They said hi. Get back doing your homework. Yeah, so I don't know who those guys were. It was right outside. It was the old Igloo in Pittsburgh.
Okay. All right.
And they weren't on the property. They were out in the parking lot. So I think they probably had a distance they had to keep away from the facility. But
Oh yeah,
it was
promoting another business. Yeah.
yeah. I'm sure. I can't remember where we were at. We might have even been downtown eating dinner or something. But they were super friendly group of guys, and that was the moment that I realized that this dream of becoming a wrestler was possible. I just had to find the right place to train and get learn the ropes literally and figuratively. So
What do you say about that, Hoss?
The Ring of Honor is they were a really good thing. I actually went to one of their shows. I believe it was one of their TV tapings. I believe myself and Nightmare Jones, Joe Lance, and my sister, his wife, we all went to Ring of Honor, and that's back when Cody was there and Briscoes were there, and we had a great time at their show. So they're good company to aspire to get with. I really enjoyed when I went there and everything. So
yeah, no one tells you how difficult it is to break into this business, even at the independent level.
No.
When you talk about promotions like that, it's very difficult. Everybody wants to get into that. And I
Yeah.
can't remember who it was. There's at least two female wrestlers locally that recently signed with Ring of Honor. And I can't remember who it was. It was at a WDWA show that they announced that they were no longer going to be on the independent circuit, that they had signed a professional contract. So it's very possible. It's very possible for anybody. It takes a lot of work.
yeah, of course I'm not actually in the business, but talking to people and learning some of the backstage stuff, I can see where it does take a lot of work, and you know people like yourself and everything that are in the business has to be really committed to doing it to get there. And I've seen a lot that are committed to it. I've seen some that just seem to do it for fun, and I'd love to see you get one of those contracts one day to get up there on TV.
Fingers
It would
crossed,
be
man.
awesome to see.
Yeah, it's definitely something that's on the bucket list. Unfortunately, during right before COVID hit, we had a couple of opportunities with a couple of the big companies to go in as extras, and that got shut down. Literally a month before. That sure I might have gotten a look, but it's very difficult, and there's been a lot of guys locally that have gotten, Brandon Scott's one. I don't know if you guys know who Brandon Scott is, but he's been on TV a few times with AEW, with WWE, and he's probably one of those guys in this area that I'm the most surprised that isn't signed somewhere right now. I'm very shocked by that. But
Yeah,
again, I mean, he's proof that it's very very difficult, no matter how good you are, to get one of those contracts.
yeah, we've had Brandon on the show before as well, and I remember the night he was on WWE, and I told him afterwards it was good to see him on there. My only downside to it was I wish they had let him show a little more of what he can do, but because he was actually a on a TV match,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's always great to I always look and see, do I know any of these guys, when when security's running out there or something, and
Right.
I always look.
Yeah, and that's where a lot of guys get their start, and that's how they get their break. And most of it isn't so much your in-ring work. It's your how you carry yourself, how you show up, what you're willing to do while you're there. Um, Talking to the right people, a lot of that helps too. Um, and we're lucky. This area, this Mid Atlantic area, has had a lot of people come and go. Bobby Starr, I don't know if you guys know who Bobby Starr is. He was in WCW back in the day. Bobby's refereed a handful of my matches, and there's been a few times he's sat me down and said, "Listen, here's you've got to get better. Like that wasn't good enough." And there's been times where he's complimented me. So that means a lot coming from guys like him who've been there and done that. He's
I
been in some pay-per-views back in the day, so he's been around the block. So I mean, it's nice to see that those guys are willing to come back home and give back. Doc Gallows is another one of those guys. I actually went. Doc and I went to the same high school, or Luke Gallows, I guess now. Sorry, we went to the same high school. He graduated a year ahead of me, and that's another guy from probably the time he was 10 years old, knew exactly what he was going to do with his life, and no one was going to stop him. And he's walking proof that nothing did stop him. I mean, he's been all over the world, so it's very possible for any of us to make that leap.
Yeah, I remember seeing Bobby Starr at NWL wrestling matches and thinking, this guy looks so familiar, and I can't figure out why.
Yeah.
And then I see a clip of him on Jerry Springer, and was like, oh, that's what.
I forgot about that. Yeah, I forgot he was on Jerry.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, one last question here for you.
Sure.
And that is, we always have our world famous Wrestle Talk podcast game show challenge, where we allow the guests the opportunity to compete against one of the hosts. And of course, the hosts don't have the best of record on this, but are you game to do the game show challenge tonight?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, tonight you will be facing Jay Wade on the game show challenge, and we actually should have already had this queued up. We actually have a little bit of music here to start the game show challenge out. So let's go ahead and hit this music. All right. Welcome to this week's installment of the world famous Wrestle Talk Podcast Game Show Challenge. Tonight's contest is scheduled for the best 2 out of 3 falls. Our contestants are Justin Wade and Daniel Alexander Dabrowski, otherwise known as Dad. In a few moments, we will ask you 3 questions about a particular professional wrestling topic. Whenever you think you know the answer to the question, just shout out the answer. You don't have to wait for me to finish the question, and you can shout out as many times as needed. If you get it wrong, continue to guess. The first person to win 2 out of 3 falls will win tonight's game show challenge. Tonight's Wrestle Talk Podcast Game Show Challenge category is first and last. I will give you information about 3 professional wrestlers who have the same letter in their first and last name. When you think you know the answer, shout it out. If you're the first person to win 2 out of 3 falls, you will win the contest. Do you understand or have any questions?
That sounds good.
No.
All right. Question number 1. This WWE wrestler is known for his rivalries with R-Truth over the 24/7 championship. Most recently, he has become a part of the Alpha Academy.
Chad Gable?
Yeah. Beat me too.
No, not Chad Gable.
No.
Oh, that's who I thought it was. Hey, my headphones just died. Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
We can hear you.
Okay.
As long as you can hear us.
It's not
So
Otis.
remember, he's going to have the same letter to begin his name, begin his first name and ending his last name.
Yeah, I would have gone with Chad Gable, but that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, see, I know who it is. Is this it's that little guy. I don't even know his name. Yeah, I'm not going to get it either. You're going to have to go to.
I'll end up throwing a bonus question out there then. More than
we got to get a bonus. Yeah, sorry about that.
The answer was Akira Tozawa.
Never would have got that. Makes sense. He's got great dance moves, but
he's part of the Alpha Academy now. Wow, I've been missing out.
Yes, he is now part of the Alpha Academy. So, all right. Question number 2. This WWE Hall of Famer can be found feuding with his former tag team partner and best friend in AEW.
Christian Cage?
No, he's a WWE Hall of Famer. Wasn't long ago he went to AEW.
Adam Copeland?
Yes, Edge / Adam Copeland. It's the Edge, EDGE, the E's guy.
I was thinking Adam Copeland, but it didn't make any sense to me, but now it does.
So, Justin Wade has 1 point.
That's just kind of hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't have got him. I can tell you that. We'll have to talk to Skywalker about this one. Question number 3. This WWE wrestler has held countless championships. Most recently, he's been seen as leader of the Brawling Brutes.
Sheamus?
That is correct.
Yeah, you got me.
There was no other leader of the Brawling Brutes.
Nah.
So Sheamus was correct. So Justin Wade actually has scored the win. But since I do have the alternate question, we'll throw the alternate question out there just to give Dad a chance to not be swept.
If he gets it right, he wins. How about that?
That's a lot of pressure.
All right. Well, sounds good to me.
I'm a team player.
All right. This late WWE wrestler was known for being part of an Un-Americans faction. And Test is correct. Justin has swept Dad. Wow.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean it.
I didn't take it personally. I should have studied.
How do you study for this?
I don't know.
All right, where is the somewhere I have winner's music.
I won't hold it against you, Hoss, if I don't have music. So
there it is. Oh,
no.
Let me turn the sound up.
There we go. Fantastic.
Okay.
Well, I got a trivia question for you. Now we're talking about that. with the same stipulations, the question: who is my biggest fan?
Oh, Susie, of course.
There you go, Susie Hosh. You win. I don't have music for you, but
So, all right. Well, before we get out of here, how about you go ahead and shout out your social media for everybody and let them know where they're going to be able to find you coming up. And
yeah, the only thing on the books for the rest of the year is December 9th with WDWA. We don't have a location announced yet. I think they're working on that tonight, actually. But I mean, that's coming up. Tickets are going to be available. Might even be available now. That's it for the rest of the year for me. And then we'll see what next year has in store for anything else. The handles are Daniel Alexander Dabrowski on Facebook, and on X it's @Dad Myth Legend. So I try to mainly Facebook is where I'm advertising, where I'm going to be, and anything that I do, in the business, it's going to be listed on there. But the big one's December 9th. I have a feeling it's going to be a packed house. If it's anything like this, the event that was just ran this past weekend, one of the best crowds that I've got to perform in front of. It was loud. People were very opinionated. Haas, you had a couple sitting right behind you that were said some things that I don't know that were okay for that environment, but it is what it is. But yeah, that's what we got going on the rest of the year. I'm probably going to take some time off next year to heal up a little bit. Yeah, poor Susie, she had that lady right in her ear. But yeah, that's the plans coming up. We're going to see what next year has in store for us. I still got that title cash in my back pocket. I'm ready to use it any minute. So you don't want to miss any event because I could cash that in at any moment. But yeah, I appreciate you guys having me. It was a good time.
Yeah, that lady was totally out of control.
Oh, it was rough.
and poor Justin. I mean, I know.
I don't feel bad for him at all. And actually, now that we're talking about Justin, let's go ahead and skip ahead just a beat. I got something coming for Justin. I got some plans for Justin. We're gonna wait and see how December 9th goes. And if Latin Tornado gets his company back, him and I are gonna have a serious conversation about Justin going forward. You may see Dad get my hands on him at some point in time. I know that's not the face thing to do, but you just don't screw me out at 2 matches in a row and disrespect me and get away with it. So, I don't know if you saw too. He's been on social media running his mouth about me. So that usually doesn't go well.
Oh yeah, I've seen some of it, but I tell you, that crazy lady though, she actually shouted out that she would go to Justin's job after him and shouted out where he worked in a shoot.
Yeah, yeah, you don't do that.
That's a little too far.
yeah, that's rough. That's rough, but
But yeah, so and Renee, I know you've watched the show before, and you mentioned to me before about seeing the show and wanting to come on. So I know you know who Renee the Night Owl is.
Absolutely.
And he wants to know if you can adopt him.
That's expensive nowadays. But I'll look into it. He's going to have to carry his weight around the house, though. It's not a free ride. He's going to cut grass. He's going to have some chores. And he's got to stop rooting for Cisco. I mean, that's all there is to it. I know that dude loves Cisco. So we can't. I can't say too much about Cisco. He's one of my better friends in the business. So I can see why Renee likes him. But yeah, we could talk about that. I was kind of hoping to get to meet Renee. So maybe I'll have to come back on sometime and chat with Renee.
Yeah, he was actually supposed to be here tonight, but he had a few things at work happen, and
I get that.
Unfortunately, but he was looking forward to it though. So, Justin, any last thoughts for Dad here?
No, I'm all set here. Hey, great having you on the show, man.
Yeah, it was great to meet you. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks for coming on, and welcome to the Wrestle Talk podcast family, because you are now an official member of the family. And anytime you want to, chime in, like during shoot and shout or high spots or something, hit me up, let me know. We can make that happen, or when you're in the comments, say hello.
All right, we'll do, man. Appreciate it, guys.
All right, thanks. See you.
Right.
See you at the next matches. Well, all right. Well, that was good. Oh shoot, I knew I was forgetting something. Let me see if he can come in real quick. Sorry about that. I I actually forgot that I was supposed to let Perry know when we started the game show, and he was actually going to come on at the end because he was running a little late. But yeah, another great interview. Really enjoyed it, and it's always good to learn more about these guys. Get to sit and chat with them, and
Well, yeah. Also getting them out there. Other promotions might see them and might give them a call to come work for them. So.
oh yeah, definitely. I have seen that happen before. That
I love seeing
somebody's
that. I
been
hope
on here, so hopefully he will. Somebody will see it and get to come on. So while we're waiting to see if Perry will come on, let's give a shout out to those sponsors one more time. There we go. Yeah, as always, we want to recognize Royal Mills Transportation, the one and only Dewan Mills, Nobleman's Barber Lounge, KCMO, Ask for Pete the Barber, Kincaid Arcade at the Oak Park Mall, Interstate 70 Sports Media, Jeremy Carp and the guys over there, Little Popeyes Designs, where you get your Wrestle Talk podcast tumbler, and the FWWC, the world's premier fantasy wrestling group. And if you want to know more about them, hit myself up, hit Renee up, hit Dewan up. Any one of us will be happy to tell you about it. I believe if you go to WrestleTalkPodcast.com, there's a tab there for fantasy wrestling. So, you ever wanted to be a wrestler, but you just can't do it. Fantasy wrestling's the way to go. So, it doesn't look like he's going to catch it in time. I'll have to definitely apologize to him. But as always, it's been a pleasure, Justin.
Good show tonight. I had fun.
Any parting words for our fans tonight?
Oh, just keep on watching all the wrestling you can, and try to keep up with the content. And if you can't keep up with the content, I'm sure we'll talk about it, or another crew will talk about it here on the Wrestle Talk podcast.
So, all right. Well, appreciate your time with me, Justin. As always, and hopefully we get to talk together again soon.
You take it easy, Hoss. See you down the road.
All right, and that'll be it for our show tonight. Thank you for watching, whether you're watching the replay, whether you're here with us. As always, we got another great show lined up for next week. I believe the Night Owl will be back next week. But before we go, I know Chris normally says something about this, and I feel compelled to say something. I know that this time of year is tough on a lot of people, and you can really get down and everything, but there's always somebody out there to help. So if you or anyone needs to reach out to somebody, it's easier than ever. 988 for National Suicide Prevention Hotline. Somebody's there for you, and there's always people somewhere who love you, whether you realize it or not. So if you need help, please feel free to reach out. So Justin Wade, for the Night Owl, for the rest of the Wrestle Talk podcast crew, I am Hardcore Haas and want to thank you for being here tonight. And I'll be seeing you on the next show. Have a good night, everybody.